Democrats in Arizona are taking a very undemocratic approach to the 2024 election, and they're suing to prevent a third-party candidate from appearing on the ballot because they're so worried about their dysfunctional party. We need more parties than two parties.
Yeah, we do.
Pick it up from there.
Yeah, it's the group No Labels that the Democrats in Arizona, and we hate No Labels. Go back and look through 19 years of Ring of Fire. You'll see us talk about how terrible they are. But they're suing because they don't want No Labels on the ballot because their fear, of course, is that, well, you're going to take the moderates away and we're going to lose the election because we can't win an election on our own merits. We have to make sure we keep out all the competition so that you don't screw things up for us. It is a farce. This lawsuit they've filed is so stupid. They're saying, well, the petitions that they gathered to even get on the ballot, they kind of filled out paperwork before they had all the petitions. So the paperwork isn't technically legal. It's so BS.
Look, the point is this. We need three parties, and for the Democrats to take a position where we're going to do everything we can do to sue from keeping this terrible party. They are a terrible party, don't get me wrong, but we're going to keep them off the ballot. It just looks so cheesy.
It does.
It looks like you are so concerned about your ability to win that you're not going to allow this to happen. Now, quick rundown, No Labels, driven by Wall Street, okay? Yeah. Originated on Wall Street, had all these talking heads. Joe Scarborough used to be one of our law partners. He was one of their talking heads about how important No Labels is because, he was owned by Wall Street. But all of these folks that are talking about this, that's what it is. It's Wall Street. But you still don't say, we're not going to allow you to be a third party, right?
That is truly disgusting. And especially when Democrats in Arizona are seeing a massive surge in their own popularity, in the victories that they have in the state. Things are looking up for the Democrats in Arizona, and you're shooting yourself in the foot by trying to keep this party off the ballot because it makes you look petty, it makes you look weak, and it makes you look anti-democratic.
And why might the public be attached to this party without even knowing how bad they are?
Yeah.
Because there's so much hate, there's so much division with the Democrats, there's so much hate and division with Republicans, and that's all the public sees is division and hate. And so they're thinking, well, maybe these people are different. Well, they're different if you want to be a real victim as a consumer. Yeah, go vote No Labels, but they should still be on the ballot. And the Democrats look stupid for trying to keep them off. For more than 100 years, institutions have been popping up in America promising to put troubled teens in the right track. But all too soon, these teens end up being subjected to what can only be described as torture in these institutions. Join me to talk about that and what's happening is Caleb Cunningham. Caleb, let me ask you right off the bat, people don't even know about this. They hear, well, so-and-so was sent to a reformatory of some kind. They have all kinds of words for it. Why don't you lay this story out for me a little bit?
So essentially, this stuff has existed for more than 100 years. I know you did a great show on the Dozier School, and that's not a one-off. You've got 80 dead children in unmarked graves in Dozier here in Florida, and that's happening around the country. These children are being subjected to unimaginable cruelty under the guise of wilderness therapy, of conversion camps, of reformatory schools. They've got a lot of different names, but what they're selling is this miraculous snake oil, that something is wrong with your child and we can fix them.
Yeah.
We can fix them.
Send them away.
Right.
Just give complete control to us and we're going to fix them. Just like you mentioned, Dozier, there's graves everywhere where we don't even know where the children are buried.
Right.
Where they were beat, they were raped, they were murdered, and they were put in graves in that Dozier area, right there in Marianna, Florida. But people don't understand, this is an industry, okay? This is not just one-off. This is an industry. Talk about the industry of this whole idea of troubled, exploited industry.
And it's big money in it. You know, there's about $23 billion of public funds going to this because it's not just parents who are being lied to, it's juvenile judges, psychiatric professionals, things like that that are being lied to by these people. And it's big business. It's for-profit companies running private prisons for children, these hellholes. Again, I apologize for the foul language, but that's what these are. These are terrors that we are allowing to happen in this country, and they're profiting off of it.
Well, okay, let's back up on the idea. It started out where, you know, maybe a Catholic church would say, we have a place you can send a troubled teen, we're going to work with them. That was a disaster, more abuse cases. The Mormon church did the same thing. Anytime you see that lining up, it's usually bad, has a bad ending to it. But this is even worse because you've got Wall Street.
Right.
Wall Street saying, hey, we can make a lot of money with these troubled kids. It doesn't make any difference what we do to them because nobody ever finds out. Basically, they've gotten away with a lot for a long time, haven't they?
They absolutely have. And like we saw with the abuses with the Catholic Church or the Boy Scouts of America, these kids, they have a built-in excuse and say, oh, they're troubled. Oh, you can't believe what they say. And so when the abusers get caught, they blame the victim, as we see time and time again. And it's the same abuses, but it's systematic and it's disgusting because you have a culmination of no regulation or little regulation, money, and children. So predators are attracted to this, negligent people are attracted to this, and like you said, Wall Street money is backing a lot of this because they see big money.
And that's important because regulators are nullified. The regulators, if you just look at Dozier, there were no regulators. No. If you look at the school up in Philadelphia where the judges were getting paid, they're getting kickbacks to send these kids to this reform school. They called it, I don't know what they referred to it, but it's reform school. So they caught these two judges. Both of them in prison right now. But that kind of stuff goes on all over this country. And the problem is the media pays little attention to it until something terrible happens. But tell us about give us the name of the corporations. What are the corporations that are involved in this?
So I want to talk about one specifically. Yeah. They used to be called Sequel, then they changed their name to Vivint, and now they call themselves Brighter Paths. Right?
Why do they keep changing the name?
Because they keep getting in trouble.
Yeah.
We keep finding out about it. News reporters bring it to the public's attention, and so they change their name. And there's no regulation to stop them from doing this, so they rebrand, and they're really good at that. One of their most recent and most egregious offenses, to your point, was a 16-year-old kid in Michigan named Cornelius Fredericks. He threw a sandwich in the lunchroom. 7 adults crushed him to death for throwing that sandwich. He laid on the floor for 12 minutes, his dead body, while the nurse looked at him before they called for emergency personnel. Mm-hmm. He died. They crushed that child to death for throwing a sandwich.
Okay, that's one example, but we're handling these cases you're handling these cases all over the country. And the stories that we're hearing are the same stories. It's usually the same offender because the hiring practices of these places, you know, they put a mirror under their nose. If there's condensation, yeah, you got the job. The psychiatrists and the psychologists that are keeping them there, they're a target. I just want to, public know, that's a target for us. We're going after these schools, and I'm wondering, what can people do? If you're in a community and you've heard rumors, what should people be doing about all this right now?
Well, the old adage is true. If you see something, say something. Don't let your loved ones get tricked into this because there is an entire marketing program designed to lie to you, to cheat you. They give other parents discounts on tuition if they write these fake referrals and testimonials. And Congress has known about that. They did a report in 2008 about these kids that have been dying, the kids that have been hurt, the kids that have been sexually assaulted, and they didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. The only thing that has changed since 2008 is they're more profitable than ever. They're more profitable than ever.
Well, it's the equivalent of the private prison system.
Exactly.
This is a knockoff on that, only we're going to imprison kids, and we have a better chance at abusing them because what they do. And here's what everybody's missing. If you're a family member and this has happened to you, who's your target? How about the people who decided to put him there? The child there, the people who are the psychiatrist or psychologist who's supposed to be helping them, instead they're having a complete opposite effect. We've got cases where kids are committing suicide because the harm is so bad and they don't feel like they can ever get out of the problem, right?
Exactly. And this company is bragging about, Sequel in particular, in 2017 in public filings, bragged about that they estimated their value at $423 million. They were in 19 states. They had over 9,000 children in that one company's programs, because it is a
Has
private
anybody
business.
prosecuted them? I mean, have they been criminally prosecuted? Because these stories are story after story. And we hear it because they're calling us now.
Right.
People that, we did a little bit of a story on this, and people are calling now, and the stories, they're remarkable. The question is, how did that happen? And the answer always is, we didn't know. The parents, we didn't know. They covered up. The shrink there on campus was telling us that it's our child's fault. Right. The law enforcement are saying it's the child's fault when they turn up beat up or put in solitary confinement. This is a terrible story. I hope you'll really, really go after these people as hard as you can, Caleb, okay?
We're going to dedicate all our resources to it,
Yeah.
and we're going to bring them to justice and hopefully bring some peace to these children and their families.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining me,
Thank you.
okay? That's all for this week, but all these segments are going to be available this coming week right here on this channel, and you can follow us on Twitter at America's Lawyer. I'm Mike Papantonio, and this has been America's Lawyer. We tell you the stories every week that corporate media won't tell you because their advertisers won't let them tell those stories, or their political connections are so tribal that they don't allow for it. We'll see you next time.